are going to do this, pull off the upset against a team like the Saints, what does that game plan look like? How do they do it?
Drew Brees, 28 minutes time of possession. Right now, NFL high over 33 minutes. That right there is hard to be able to beat. So Drew Brees not going to turn the ball over. They win time possession like that, so you're only on the field 26 minutes with the way the Saints have been winning. That's how they've been able to run up to these big leads, scoring 40 points, 30 points in every game except twice. That's amazing. So you have to win time of possession. In this 3-game winning streak, very impressive by the Cowboys. 2 of those games on the road. Ezekiel Elliott, 177 yards from scrimmage. That's what he's averaging. So I don't see them winning. I don't see them upsetting New Orleans unless it looks a lot like that. Dominating the time of possession, and they got to be able to make some big plays. If the Cowboys are able to get in the red zone, they have to score predominantly touchdowns. They can't settle for a field goal. So let's just say they get there 6 or 7 times, all right? Yeah. They better score 4 or 5 touchdowns, because if they don't, based on my numbers guy, he ain't tall, but he's big into the numbers. He tells me, how do they get the 30 points? So that's what I'm looking for. So they need at least 5 possessions in there. They need at least 4 touchdowns. That's what Dallas, that's how they win the game. Time of possession, not turn the ball over, and you have to make New Orleans play a different game than they've been playing these first 11 games.
I understand the focus is going to be on the Dallas defense. How do you slow down the Saints offense? That is, thus far, 11 games in, been an unsolvable riddle for NFL defenses. Like, they don't go 3 and out. They don't turn the ball over. You don't sack the quarterback. They beat you with the run and with the pass. That's how you become on pace to be one of the 5 highest scoring offenses in NFL history. That's how through 11 weeks you've been held in the 20s twice all year, as he mentioned. In the 30s 3 times, and 40-plus 6 times. It is a great offensive year if you score in the 30s more often than in the 20s. They score in the 40s more often than everything else. So that's who the Saints offense is. A great defensive game against New Orleans. You hold them to 4 touchdowns and a field goal. That's below their season average. That would put them 5th most points, or 5th fewest points, I should say, they've scored all year. That's a great defensive game. So if you're Dallas, how do you score your touchdowns? Because you're going to have to. There is no 21-17 win to be had here. And that's where it gets real hairy. Because we know that the Cowboys this year, undefeated when Dak doesn't throw a pick. In his career, 22, or when he doesn't turn the ball over, I should say, 22-2 when he doesn't turn the ball over. So typically for the Cowboys, what's the game plan? Don't turn the ball over, trust Zeke, trust the defense. Against the Saints, you got to crack that game plan open a little bit. Man, you got to throw the ball down the field. You have to take some chances offensively and defensively. And that could lead to you getting blown out. But Jason Garrett, is your hope in this game to have it be a 10-point game in the 4th quarter, you kick a field goal and you only lose by 7 and you cover? Or is your hope in this game to do everything you can to have a signature statement win? That might lead to you getting beat 45-17. But maybe it also leads to you having a lead late and you can hold on to it. Like, they've got to take chances. Amari's got to be awesome. And obviously, Zeke's got to have a Zeke game.
And some of those chances got to be taken on the defensive side. They're very conservative. Don't blitz the quarterback, even though they do have explosive linebackers. They have to be able to be more aggressive. You have to make New Orleans 2nd and 12. 2nd and 15. They're not a high penalized team. They're not a team that has a lot of negative plays. So that aggressiveness has to be on both sides of the ball, offense and leading to their defense, forcing the Saints to play a game they don't want to play.
And Tyron Smith's dealing with a couple injuries. He's listed as questionable. NFL Network just reported in the last hour that they do not expect him to play. That could be devastating for Dallas. New Orleans spent 2 first-round picks on Marcus Davenport. Cam Jordan is excellent. Rankins is one of the more underrated D tackles in football. And Dak's been sacked 38 times this year. So, like, he's, I think, the most sacked quarterback in football so far. If you get off schedule, if you're dealing with 3rd and 14, you are cooked. So whether Tyron Smith plays or not, the offensive line has to have one of their best games of the year against what I consider a very underrated Saints front 4.
All right, so this is just a regular season game, but it has the feel that a win would mean so much more for the Cowboys than it would for the Saints. It would be almost like a statement win. What would this mean for the Dallas?
Yeah, the coaches talk. Coach Mangini, he's somewhere right now telling people, you got to take it one game at a time. But there are games. They are one in the win column, one in the loss column, but they do mean more from a moving forward standpoint. I believe that this could have significant meaning in several different levels. Number one, across the National Football League. Nick, we talk about it. We get all this information in from the league. We're very, very fortunate. What the numbers are, it's explosion. But there's a few teams out there depending for Dallas to play some good defense so they can have hope coming down the stretch.
There is obviously a win for Dallas would be a signature win. It would no longer just be the Cowboys are alive because their division stinks. It would be the Cowboys are alive because they've won 4 in a row. The Omari addition was huge.
Yes.
Zeke's playing great. This is a good football team, a dangerous football team. But this win would also mean a lot for the Bears. A team that is, I bet, at its core wondering, in 2018, can our way to win work?
Yeah,
Can
from a style standpoint, yes.
Can great defense, a quality running game, just enough offense work? Like over in the other conference, for a team like the Houston Texans, who are trying to, can a great pass rush, a running game, we know how good that quarterback is, but can that style beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Like, that would mean something. On the flip side, for New Orleans, man, they got it. They have to go 14-2 at a minimum if they want the playoffs to go through New Orleans, if they want to secure the 1 seed. And after this week, they're at Tampa, at Carolina, home for Pittsburgh, home for Carolina. They don't have losses to play with as good as they've been because the Rams are right there.
So not only league-wide, what it would do internally for that locker room. It would be one of the biggest wins that this group has had since they've been together the last 2.5 years. And moving forward in the playoff, it would make them legitimate as a contender because you would know, man, I got to deal with that offensive line. That defense would create confidence. And they got so many young players who have not had success in the NFL, especially in the postseason. So it would mean a tremendous amount on a lot of different levels. But ultimately, Jason Garrett and his ability for that coaching staff to teach this football team and to speak to them from a positive standpoint, that's what this game under the lights against the NFL's most consistent football team and best football team, the New Orleans Saints.
And what a turn of events it would be for Jason Garrett, whose job was basically on the hot seat a couple of weeks ago, to host this game, to host this team on a national stage.
No, if they win this game, Jason Garrett and Dak Prescott will probably be presented with contract extensions on the Star by Jerry Jones.
And bottling goals.
Watch the first drive of the game. First time Saints touched the ball. The Saints have scored 51 points on their first drive this year. That's the second most in the league. The Cowboys have only